Hello and welcome to this episode of The Adventures of the Windswift. I'm Guy, the GM, and of course I'm joined by a new crew of people who are testing out their role-playing mettle against, against Blaxton, really, I suppose, as Con does not seem to be with us. How very strange. We're about to find out exactly where he is and what's going on in a little bit, but for now, let's meet our four new cadets who are just aboard the Windswift. So I'm going to use our dice of destiny to determine whom we start with. And that is number 2. That is David from South Africa. David, tell us who your character is and give us a bit of a description thereof.
Okay, so Pushal is a Cathar rogue. Street urchin, malnourished, so his physical form is very, shrunken and that. But his tail's broken a couple places, nose is also... his skin is like a lot of scar tissue. Basically, he's been like a bounty hunter at the moment. Loves taking chances. The energy that he has kind of like vibrates through him. So like when he joins a ship, he'll be like exploring everything. He's just very energetic. Loves exploring everything.
Lovely. Last question. What's the color of his mottled, damaged fur?
Black, with a bit of white stripes where like it's healed and that, and it's not quite come properly because unfortunately he spent a lot of time on the streets. Malnourished.
All right, Purcell, lovely. Tyler, let's get a character from you.
All right, so I'm playing Brooke Anali-san, who is a dwarven pirate. He's a bard for class, but he doesn't really mind as long as he's comfy, you know. So his clothes are mismatching and like probably sewn together. He picked up a fiddle to fight the chaos that was happening everywhere. He grew up in a pirate ship, and that's pretty much Brooke.
Lovely. All right, Omer.
I'm playing Abir Sol. He's also a Cathar. His fur is gray with patterns of black, a bit of white on the belly and the neck. For a class, he's a fighter. He's a very conflicted character. On the one hand, joking around and a bit sarcastic. On the other hand, tend toward melancholy sometimes.
All right.
Yeah.
Lovely. And sounds like a cat to me. And then Jenny.
Yes. I am playing Adrasai, the wizard of indeterminate gender, who is dresses in very sort of flowing, loose clothing, and is very curious, very sort of bright-eyed, and clearly has not had that much experience with the world, but is very eager to.
Human?
Cathar, sorry.
Cathar, all right.
Yes.
We have a crew of Cathar. Wow, you are
We have
going
a lot of Cathars today.
herding cats.
Cathar.
Lovely. Cathar and dwarf. Oh my God. And Blaxton.
And they are a brown with golden streaks.
Lovely. Wow. Who knows? We might end up with a litter by the end of today's show. Right. So what we're going to do, because there are so many of us and it makes life easy, is I'm going to ask everybody to please write down your initiative, roll your initiative, and I'll write it down. So we can just see that's your social initiative. All right. So let's just run through it. Purcell.
15.
Thank you. Brooke.
13.
Ebusol.
14.
Adrusai.
20.
20. Blaxton.
9.
Is that no, or is that no? It's not good.
No.
Never mind. I'm sorry. I apologize. All right, and great. Got that. All right, fantastic, excellent. Okay, so here we go. You've now met the crew. Let's see how the adventure runs. The wind is blowing quite strongly through the hair of the 4 cadets as you find yourselves standing aboard the slightly rocking deck of Windswift. A mile below you, you can see stretching out in all directions the great Kush mountain range, and way in the distance you can see the sparkling white gem of the great mountain known as the Gamspire. Blaxton, you are standing next to the helm where Lieutenant Jasani's tie is standing, looking very, very officious. This is literally a second before you were in an office with a dwarf who was declaring that nothing was wrong. There was also a young gentleman standing next to you who was very curious as to why nothing was wrong. And yet now you suddenly find yourself standing on the deck of the Windswift with 4 new cadets and no sign of Con or Mutaru at all. So, what are you doing, Adrusol?
I'd say they are standing right at the front of the ship, sort of their hand clutched around one of the ropes, sort of not quite the Titanic one, but just sort of safely leaning over and having a look at everything around.
All right, absolutely. Purcell, right? Purcell.
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 You can try to, yeah. In the rigging, he's basically just like up in the is there a seat on top? The
Absolutely. Crow's nest. Yes, absolutely.
crow's nest. He's in the crow's nest. Just
There is a very young boy next to you. He looks a little bit nervous. He's about 13. He's a human. When you sort of scamper up and join him. So he looks at you nervously. Ebusol?
Yeah. So I am probably like, there is a crewman around me or something, and I'm like, we are flying. This is amazing. Wow.
All right, lovely. Brooke?
Well, Brooke is going to be probably playing his fiddle and like dancing around the deck or whatever, probably like going from one place to the other, like also trying to strike up a conversation while fiddling.
All right. Is there a particular tune that he's fiddling, or is it just a randering ragtime?
It's supposed to be like upbeat, kind of piratey, like he'll probably like do a hum or something. Like he's kind of doing like a bounce.
Right. Okay.
With a big stupid grin on his face that's underneath his big bushy mustache.
Blaxton?
Looking a little bit befuddled, I guess. Kind of looking around, taking a look at Jasani and asking her what date it is. Jasani.
Yes, sir.
What date is it?
I believe it's the 24th of Grun, sir, which would put it the morning of the day that you arrived at this exact point, as far as you're concerned.
So Groundhog Day.
Hours before. Yes, it literally is the time before you arrived at Dwaslan border and all that sort of stuff.
And we okay, and then I kind of nod and say, of course. And what is our job today?
She gives you a look. She's not subtle about it. It's Jasani Tai. And she says, we are taking the cadets on their first cruise, sir, if you recall.
Yes, of course. Dorskiv, Maris, Yorek, and Seket Hotep, right?
Perhaps if I'm awfully sorry, sir, but I'm afraid that's not the name of the individuals we have here. Seket is a Sajeti name.
Yes.
You've got 3 Cathar and a dwarf. And she points to them, the dwarf busy fiddling. She looks for the one cat. She can't find him. He's somewhere, well, he's in the rigging. She doesn't know that. There's one at the front of the ship, and then there's one sort of being very excited on the side of the ship.
Yes. Something is off. Let me take a look at the go down below deck and take a look at the papers again.
As you're about to leave the speaking horn next to the wheel, you hear the chief engineer Brockenstoke suddenly pipe up. Excuse me, captains. Could you all please come into the briefing room? I need to speak to you quite urgently.
Well, I guess the papers can wait.
All right. Purcell, you are up in the crow's nest with the young lad. He introduces himself as Mios. And I want you to make a perception check, please. And Adrusai, you can make one as well. Adrusai.
15.
19.
19, all right. Between the two of you, you see way off in the distance, slowly making their way through the clouds, this exceptionally large pod of skywills. Now, you've read about them in your manuals. They're these great big flying beasts that sail through the air. But to have actually see them up front, you realize that they are easily twice, 3, sometimes 4 times the size of the ship itself. Now, you're slowly moving towards them, and they are slowly moving towards you. Mios looks at you, Purcell, and says, what just happened? He says as he shakes your paw.
What?
I wasn't here just now, was I?
Yes. Probably. Wales. Wales! Shut down to...
All right, you shut down to everyone Wales. All right, Ebisol, you are busy chatting to this very stern-looking elf. He's Sajetti. He looks over at you. Yes, we are flying. It's a flying ship. This is important information for you to know. This is
amazing. Yeah. I'm sorry, I didn't get it.
This is your first cruise?
Oh, yes. Yes.
You don't seem
there
to...
was... Hello, I'm Ebir.
He shakes your hand. Blaxton, as you're heading towards the central room, Naxun starts to... he disengages from you, Ebusol, and he moves over to Blaxton. Sir, they are very green.
Oh, he's grey. Yes, I know. That's cadets. We're all this way.
As you say, sir. As you say.
Be careful and don't let them on the wheel.
I would never let cadets on the wheel, sir. That would be irresponsible.
Yes. Also, does this day seem strange to you?
He looks at the dwarf who's busy fiddling and humming a sea shanty.
But aside from that, just in general, stranger than normal.
Not
all right.
particularly.
Thank you. I think the Jack and Stokes wanted something from me.
Right you are, sir. As you are busy finishing off your ditty, Mr. Brooke, you catch out of the corner of your eye a drow standing in the doorway that will lead below decks, and you realize he's actually been clapping along to the notes that you've been playing.
All right, well, I'm going to get closer to him, obviously, because he likes my music that I'm into, so that I'm producing. So I'm going to get closer to him, and it's just like, you like the pirate stuff, do ya?
I have learned to be very open-minded when dealing with cadets that come onto the Windswift. I must admit, your playing is not too bad, considering everything. But did you hear the call for sky whales?
Ah, sky whales. Well, those are like regular ocean whales, right? I've seen the ones in the ocean before. The ones flying, and then he looks over at the sky whales. Ah, yeah, looks like sky whales.
Tell me, what do you think we should do about the sky whales?
Well, if they're anything like ocean whales, which I know, we should probably try and avoid them.
Do you hear that, Lieutenant Ty? We should avoid the sky whales. She looks down at you, dwarf, from up on high with the wheel. I think that's probably a wise suggestion. All right, I'll make the course correction, she says. She then calls out to the front. She looks back at you, Brooke. Go and tell that cadet at the front that I need her to give me distances from us to the skywells, if you please, so we know how to correct our course.
You've got it. And then I'm ahead to her.
All right, so you head off to Adressol. Blaxton, you make your way down into the conferencing room where there is a very agitated looking young dwarf. Well, not dwarf, gnome. As you walk in, he looks at you.
Well, gnomes are really young dwarfs, so.
I've got something to say, sir, but I don't think you're going to believe me.
Try me.
We've had this day already.
Yes.
What do you mean, yes, sir?
I don't know.
Wait, you don't know why you said yes, sir, or you don't know?
I remember nearly dropping out of the sky in half an hour.
I remember that too, that young cadet.
I remember our ship getting few scrapes when we docked.
Aye, at Twaslin border, sir.
Yes.
Aye,
And
that
then
was
the
the...
dwarves.
And then the shopping thereafter, sir.
Yes.
And then suddenly you were back here, sir.
Have you ever heard of Dwaslin Borders in the history books?
Twaslin border, aye, it's a dwarvish outpost from what I recall.
Any noteworthy thing about the village?
I don't think it's ever been taken by the drow, but other than that, sir, I mean, it's really unremarkable. It's in the southern part of the southern part of the southern part.
Yes, well,
Hang
we're
on a
still
minute.
heading there, right? So let's just... Our storage... Is our storage in order?
I haven't checked, sir, but I don't see why it wouldn't be. I mean...
Just make sure that nothing is missing, I guess.
Aye, all right. I'll do that, sir.
And apparently not everybody noticed this, so...
It is somewhat strange that it's you and myself, sir.
Yes.
Can I ask you a question, sir?
You already did.
I can ask you another question then, sir. Wait, that was also a question. Oh, it's a bit of a... Have you ever been into an engineering room aboard a Windswift or any other airborne vessel, for that matter, violating the sacred code of the Order of the Histari?
Yes.
Well, I suppose there was no other way to answer that question because you remember the events that happened.
Why would you ask me this?
Well, the thing is, sir, there's only 2 people, now 3 on this ship, that believe that we've gone back in time or something, and 2 of us work in the engineering room, so there may or may not be a correlation between the output of them. Let's just say it was a hunch. We don't have to go further than that. And we won't ask why or how you were in an engineering room where you're not allowed. So, but it's...
So, do you remember the maps we ran across? Just a few weeks back.
We don't have to talk about any of it's all water under the bridge. And we're very far away from the bridge.
So I really appreciate honesty in my crew.
Aye.
All right, just keep that in mind.
Aye.
And Fetch, just do your job and check the storage.
Aye.
Okay.
Aye. As he leaves, you are confronted by a very gruff-looking individual who looks at you as if they have known you forever. It's a young halfling. She looks at you and says, "And why wasn't I involved in that meeting?"
Is this me again?
At you, Blaxton. Sorry, yes, I'll come to the rest of them. I'm just going to get this out of the way.
Okay. Halfling.
Yes?
And then just like hip to the side, just like, and why would you be invited?
I'm a captain on board the Windswift. It's, we share information.
Yeah, of course.
You recognize her as Sori, the bard that you...
Oh, okay. Well, I got information that there was something unregular happening in the machine room, but I think everything is sorted, at least for now.
Oh, that's good. That's good. I'm glad to hear that. All right.
Yes. Do you know where the other captains are?
Yes, they're on shore leave.
Right.
Right?
Not true.
I beg your pardon?
Yeah, oh, that's good.
Good.
I think I'm gonna go pray for a minute. I need some clarity.
Or would that be clericy? Ah. It might be, she says as she walks off. Back to the four of you.
So much.
Back to the four of you on deck. You notice as Lieutenant Jasani starts to angle the ship away that the Skywolves, their course continues to the side, but it looks as if now there are these large blobs which have detached themselves from the Skywolves. And those blobs are now floating with quite some speed towards the Windswift. You realize that each of them is probably about 30 foot in diameter, so they're quite large, like these giant inflated bladders just floating away from the Skywolves. What are you doing, Adrusol? The dwarf has just arrived behind you. He's muttering something, saying something. That's the one who was playing his fiddle.
I turn around and sort of lean down towards the dwarf and I go, yes? I'm sorry?
Well, the person steering the ship is trying to figure out the gauge between the skywheels and the ship. She asked me to gauge the distance.
Well, I'm sure we can do that. And they turn around and sort of try to measure.
All right. Would you give me an intelligence check, please? You can add your proficiency to that value. Brooke, you can do the same thing as you try and work it out as well, I assume.
That is a natural 20 plus 5.
Oh, well, there we go. All right.
I got a not natural 20.
Well, between the two of you, you work out that they are exactly 312 yards and 2 feet away, except those balloons are approaching at a speed of around 6 or 7 knots, which is a lot faster than the air current that's currently drifting over the ship itself, which indicates a self-propulsion of some kind.
I turn around and I call this information out back to the helm.
All right, back to the helm. Porchel, you and Mias are still up the crow's nest. Mias looks at you. Were we not in Dwaslan border just now?
Nope. No, just came on board.
Okay. Would you excuse me, please? I need to go and speak to a captain. Do you know where Captain Con is? You've never heard of Captain Con, Con at all?
Nope. Blaxton is down. I'm captain. Apparently, training. Not confirmed yet, but
I'm sure you'll become captain too. So you just stay here and watch out for anything strange. I'm going to go and speak to Captain Blaxton right now.
okay. But those things.
Yeah, those are strange. Well done for seeing them. He starts to crawl down the ropes and things, making his way down to the lower deck. Are you doing anything else?
Shot down that we've got incoming. Prepare to
All right.
repel borders. Is there a rope up here?
Yes, there's several coils of rope around the base of the crow's nest you can use for various bits and pieces.
Okay. So I'm going to tie one of those on the crow's nest so that if I want to, I can jump off and do some fun.
Hang yourself.
Hopefully not, Just make sure that I'm attached to part of the rope. The rope's attached to something hard. When I swing off, I can...
Like a tether, yeah.
Right. All right. Perfect. And then Ebusol, what are you doing? You've seen these bladders now moving towards the ship as well. You've heard from the front of the ship that there's these approaching things that are moving quite quickly. You've heard from above you, prepare to repel borders being shouted out. What are you doing?
Hearing those stuff, I have a bit of experience in the sea. I know exactly what to do. I grab onto something, and I just put my paw on the sword, and my gasping face changes to dead serious. Just looking around, see who comes from where and what, and looking for other orders.
Aha. All right. Perfect. Blaxton, you hear... you've gone to pray in the shrine, I'm assuming, on board the vessel. Lieutenant Ty contacts you on the speaking horn. Captain, there is some unusual activity coming towards the vessel. The cadets...
Sky whales?
Yes, sir. How did you know?
Just a hunch.
They seem to have detached bladders of some kind, which are making their way towards the ship. I have tried to correct course to... clear distance, but they seem to be moving directly towards us.
Well, are the recruits there with you?
Yes, sir.
Well, let them handle it. It might be a good change of pace for them.
Right you are, sir. If you think that's a good idea.
Yes.
You hear the cork being put into the horn. From the other side, oh God, prepare the engines for stress. The cadets are in charge. Sort of drifting around. Okay, so as the bladders get closer and closer, Lieutenant Ty leans forward. Would any of the four of you want to take up a gunnery position? Do any of you know how to use them? Oh, good, you do. All right, well, you'll find the forward ballista is ready and armed. Do go sparingly on the ammunition, and it's live fire, so if you shoot any of the other cadets, you will be disqualified from the course immediately.
Of course, Captain.
You can also use gunnery cadets. I want to say Adrusai. Cadet Adrusai, you can use gunnery as well?
Oh, yes. I've never tried, but I'm sure I can.
Well, that's the spirit. I'm sure that will come in handy next time we're in a crisis. You're willing to try. Good. All right. Well, you can take up the aft station and just shoot at anything that shouldn't be coming towards us, all right?
Can I roll to see if I know what these bladders actually are?
All right. So anyone who's looking at the bladders, you can all give me a nature check, if you please. As they're getting closer, you can see now that it looks like there's ropes and things attached to them.
16.
Natural 20.
Natural 20,
Natural 1.
16, natural 1.
I got a 14.
14. All right. So, Purchell, up in the crow's nest, you are fastidiously tying the knots. But, of course, it's a ball of string, really, isn't it? So there's a certain fascination that started to develop with this tying of rope around your cathar features. So you're busy with that. The rest of you realize that these bladders have got ropes that have been netted over them And hanging underneath those ropes, you can see there are figures, humanoid figures, that are, it looks as if they're busy tugging on more ropes or cables, and that's causing the bladder to basically move through the air almost like a seesaw or a flipper, if you like, making their way towards the ship with quite a strong level of determination. They themselves have been painted in, it can only be described as blue and white paint to blend into the sky around them. The giant brown bladder above them does give them away, as it does not look like a cloud at all. But they themselves have painted themselves blue.
So this is basically, what, air pirates?
Yes.
Who knows? Who knows? They haven't arrived yet. They are now 80 foot away from the ship as they approach. There are 6 of them that are coming in. And yeah, so they're coming in. So now everyone can give me initiative, please, as we go into combat. All right.
Oh,
so Adrusai?
4. Not great.
Parchel?
10.
Getting out of that rope slowly. Ibisol?
5.
Getting back into the rope. Brooke?
6. We're all
Blaxton?
low today.
21.
All right. So the experienced combatant who's currently praying in below decks, you're acting first. Are you doing anything? You haven't heard any of this, obviously.
I stand up and I would kind of head above deck to see what they're actually doing, to see if they're worth their salt.
Right. Okay, as you come up onto deck, you clearly see these bladders. This is not those parasites of earlier this morning, obviously. And you can see figures hanging underneath them. And as they're getting closer, you can see that the figures are now all starting to draw these rather vicious-looking crossbows from their backs and getting ready to open fire.
So just as a understanding thing, so basically they're hanging on balloons that are propelled with some sort of like air.
Yes, it's as you're getting closer, you can see that this whole thing, it's a net-like contraption, and at the back is this big fin, which is slowly moved up.
What's
and down
keeping
by
them up?
The bladder itself. The bladder itself.
Which is like a balloon.
Yes, I suppose you could say a balloon. Yes, correct, absolutely. Yes, and they're slowly busy propelling themselves forward. There are 6 of them making their way in. As they're getting closer, they start opening fire with these crossbows. They're firing at maximum range. So there are 4 of you plus Lieutenant Chisani, Naxun, and Blaxton on board, and Mios as well. All right, so the first one goes out to, well, at you, Blaxton, actually, as you walk up onto deck. This crossbow bolt sails through the air. It hits an armor class of 15, which I don't
be hitting me. I
Does it hit
wouldn't
you?
be wearing my armor right now.
Right, all right. So you take 1 point of damage as this bolt sort of skims past your shoulder.
Yeah.
The next one is for Brooke. The next one is for Ebusol. Brooke again. Obviously, they didn't like the music. And then Lieutenant Ty. All right, so 2 for Brooke. Armor class 16. Armor class 19. So that's 2 hits on Brooke, I'm afraid. Ebusol is armor class 9, so that's a miss. And then the last one goes out for Lieutenant Chisholm again. All right, so the 2 hits for you, Master Dwarf, comes to a grand total of 6 hit points of damage.
All right.
Ebusol, yours missed, and the one against Lieutenant Chisani does that. Okay, so as they're coming in, they're pulling out these crossbows from their backs, they're lifting them up, and then they're firing at you. They then are recocking that crossbow as these big balloons, these big bladders are still floating towards the ship. That's what they do. That takes us then to Parchel on the crow's nest.
Okay, so I've had a bit of time to do some math on the size of the rope. I'm basically trying to make sure that I'm going to jump off mine to get some speed, swing out past, and try and just stab with the balloons in midair.
All right. Okay. Good.
So I'll wait up until it's close enough to actually do something like that,
Right.
and then just
Absolutely.
run, jump, and yeah.
All right, perfect. That'll be at the end of the round as they are slowly drifting towards you and you're drifting towards them. Brooke, the shot dwarf.
Well, I'm very hurt, so Brooke is going to probably run and hide for cover, and then just while playing his fiddle, like more intensely, like still trying to keep an upbeat thing, but it's more like speedy. But yeah, he's just running for cover because he's now like, oh God, that freaking hurt twice.
All right, lovely. Okay, so you're running for cover. It's not difficult to find cover on the ship. There's lots of water barrels, drain barrels, as well as crates and the side of the ship itself, of course.
On the deck? Wow.
Yeah. Well, on the deck,
clean up
there's 2 barrels. Not lots of barrels, there's 2 barrels. That's Brooke. Ebisol?
Yeah, so I'm at a coward. And I'm on the position now?
Yes, so you climbed into the ballista. So the front of the ship and the back of the ship, you've got these 2 mounted ballista. They are on a wheel turning control that allows you to turn sideways. And then there's another wheel directly beneath that, which allows you to go up and down. So you basically have a full range. This thing can go 360 degrees, but the moment that you go beyond 180 degrees on the other side, you start to shoot the ship as the side sails and things start to come into play. You've got about 90 degrees down, and then you've got almost a 180 or directly above you. Well, I mean, however the geometry works. And then you've got this large lever which you pull, basically, and then that fires out this bolt, which you then can load up from the next from the box next to you.
Perfect. So I have this big heavy ballista. I'm like, all right, this should probably pierce their bladder, and I crank it up, get it to the angle I think is right, and just aim for the big bladders, hoping to puncture them.
All right, give me a ranged attack.
That's a 15.
15. All right. This large bolt sails out as the ballista fires and heads directly towards the bladder. It punctures straight through the one side of the bladder, and you can see it actually bursts out the other end and disappears way off, and then starts its mile down journey towards the surface.
Some cow's gonna have a bad day.
Oh, yes. As it punctures through the bladder, though, the bladder suddenly starts to deflate, and although he's 30 foot away from the edge of the ship, the entire structure just drops 5 foot down, and you can hear him starting to scream and shout. The language that he's screaming and shouting in it can only be described as drow. And so that's what you're hearing as he's busy sailing down. Anyone who speaks drow can pick up what he's saying. Does anyone speak drow? I don't think so.
I don't know.
No, yeah, it's not important. He's basically screaming, "Oh God, oh God, oh God, oh God, oh God," oh God," as he goes down.
Wrong religion.
Adrusai?
Yes. How is, because they were coming from ahead.
Correct. They're coming from the head and the side. So as the ship was sailing forward, they were coming from the side. Now the ship's been turning. They're still coming in. So you can still get a shot.
Yes, then I will try to get a shot. Not the one that Purcell is launching himself at.
Right. Well, from where you are, who knows where he's going? All right.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. So make your attack. Range attack.
16.
That's a hit. Again, yours also, yes, yours punctures through the bladder itself. Also, it immediately starts to drop. There's this wild shouting sound as they start to sink lower and lower and lower. I'll come back to them. That then brings us to Purcell. They are now 30 foot away from the side of the ship, which, with your 50 foot of rope, puts them in range. Yeah?
Yeah. jump out, pendulum swing, and then grab on with 3 hands and stab the 3 sets of claws, hopefully.
Okay, give me an acrobatics check as you leap out over the void.
Oh, why today? So natural 1?
Another natural 1. Oh, wow. Okay. All right, so you sail out dramatically, and then remember gravity, which is a lot stronger than your leaping ability.
This is the Wile E. Coyote moment. Yeah.
Yes, very much.
Suspension in the midair, and then suddenly you start to plummet down. Brooke, you can see this Cathar sailing out over you in what he was hoping was going to describe a graceful arc, but which in actual fact is pretty much just a stone dead drop coming straight down. Are you doing anything?
Well, luckily I have Feather Fall. So I'm going to try and play my fiddle and then cast Feather Fall on him.
All right, so that's what you're going to try and do. That'll be in your round. Hopefully that will...
Feather Fall is actually a reaction. So
it's a reaction spell. Oh, yes, that's right. It is. It's a reaction spell. Absolutely.
Yeah,
all right,
one
so
reaction.
You throw out Featherfall. How do you cast your magic?
He just changes the tune of the fiddle. Like, he sees the person falling, so he goes to, like, some... Like, it feels more lighter, not so popping, but like it's just something really light, and
all right,
it's not as energetic and stuff like that.
All right. So, Potticello, as you launch out and suddenly realize the folly of your ways and start plummeting the mile down towards these very pointed mountain ranges below you, it suddenly feels as if
the rope attached to the crow's nest.
Yes.
Down,
there is that hope. We haven't yet got to it. But suddenly it feels as if you're in marshmallows because the air just becomes solid enough that you can almost grasp it. And instead of falling, it now feels as if you're sort of floating. Yes, so you can try and pull your way along. It's very ineffective. As you claw and scratch your way towards the balloon. Blaxton, back to you, sir.
So is he not gonna die then?
He doesn't look like he's going to die. No, he has no dignity left because he's bended like
never had any big
floating along behind the ship. But yes.
Yeah. All right. So there are these air pirates coming in, and Brooke looks hurt very much. Does it look like that they want to board, or are they just like peppering us with like bolts?
No, the intention does seem very clear. They want to get onto the ship.
All right. I will then go over to Brooke and slap him on the back for 5 points. So I basically grab him and like push him off on his scarf and say like, "On your feet, cadet. There's no hiding in here."
Brax be with you. Shove.
Learn to swim. Shove.
All right.
But I did heal you for 5 points, I think.
Yeah, I'm back up to 9.
Lovely. All right, so they are acting next. The first one, as the balloon now gets close to the ship, you can see he pulls on these 2 cables and does a very neatish flick and lands rather badly on the deck. As he does so, his crossbow falls to the side of him, but he doesn't seem to be too fazed by that. He then draws this very long, very thin, very cruel-looking rapier, and he starts to advance towards someone as yet to be determined. Then the one that was falling, that Ebisol you shot at, you are busy watching him, so you're slowly cranking as you're watching him descend. You can see he very frantically loads a crossbow bolt and fires it at the ship. And there's this line that's attached to the bolt. So it embeds itself in the bottom of the ship. So that's what he does. And then he starts to, it looks like he's starting to clip himself out of his harness. The exact same thing, Adrasai, you are seeing yours do pretty much the same trick. except that his shot, as he fires it, he also tugs on his harness, and he falls free of his harness straight away. So he slides out of his harness, and he starts pulling himself along that cable, which is now attached to the base of the ship. Both of you can still shoot at your targets, but they're now human-sized, so they're going to be a lot more difficult to hit than just these giant balloons. Oh, that's depressing. Okay. Two more of the guys unclip and land on the deck like professionals. They've done this before. This is not new to them. The sixth one unclips and falls short. So there is this very brief scream as he realizes he hasn't got enough distance and just disappears way down.
Guy, you know that you're gonna need to put in the Wilhelm scream here, right?
Yes.
I'm gonna wait as he falls past me.
Yeah, as you're sort of floating in like a hot air balloon. All right. So he is completely gone with no option of salvation there. To the top of the characters round, Purcell.
Okay. I'm falling, but can I land on the deck, or
Yes.
is it past me already? Okay.
No. So you can sort of pull yourself along the rope a little bit and land on the deck at the same time.
Okay. And then, because all these guys are now jumped technically in front of me, I'm going to rocket behind them and start stabbing them with kidney shots.
Right.
Hopefully with a bit of sneak attack, because nobody expected.
No one expects a cat to land in the air. All right, let's see.
So 15.
15. All right.
Hopefully a surprise foe.
If it's a surprise foe. So one of them is surprised, two of them are not. Which are you going to go for? Your options are
The
1,
surprise
4, or
one
5.
I want the sneak attack, so I'm going to
Yes,
stab the guy.
you
that's
don't know
not
which
expecting
one
me.
is surprised. That's
Oh.
the problem. There's a number, 1, 4, or 5. Pick a number.
4.
4. All right. There we go. As you launch up to him, he spins around, but he's not looking at you. He's looking at Lieutenant Ty standing on the bridge. That's his goal. He doesn't see you, so you do get your sneak attack. And your 15 hits him, so do your damage.
7.
7 points damage? All right. As your rapier slides into him, he cries out. You've drawn blood from him. The blue and white paint that they're covered in flakes off, and you can see underneath they're wearing this black leather. Very, very well-made black leather.
Just for it, I'm using a cutlass, so using a scimitar.
Right.
Concept, but it's a cutlass because yeah.
Because it's a cutlass.
Because it's a cutlass.
All right, so you slide in there with your cutlass and crack open some of his paint. Brooke, you're up next.
All right. Well, being pushed by Brax pretty much, and Blaxton, he's charging at the closest pirate to have landed, and he's pulling out his rapier, and he's going to try and attack that one. So,
all right, make your attack.
14.
14. As you come rushing forward, he sees you. He raises his rapier, which now that you're getting closer, you realize that it actually has this horrid curve to it. So if he was to stab it into you, it would require a little bit more force, but it probably looks as if it will do more damage than just a straight, neat little slide in. Horrid looking weapon. And as you lunge at him, he casually knocks you aside and then swears at you in Drow. You don't have to speak Drow to know this. You are a dwarf. What he says to you translates very, very close to, I am going to shave you, and then I will leave you to die in the sun with the humans, because that is where you belong. That is the insult that he sends out to you. It's an ancient insult between the Drow and the dwarves from years and years and years of animosity. Ebusol?
Yeah, so if there are no draws in my immediate proximity, I will try to, I will dismount from the ballista, and I will try to cut the rope that the thingy is climbing.
All right. Well, you go over to the side of the ship. You look down. You can see that the drow is busy frantically climbing up it. You can indeed cut it. If you do so, he will fall to his death. There is absolutely no question.
Yeah, that's the idea.
All right. So, what weapon are you using?
A rapier.
All right, rapier.
I can also have a knife if it's better.
Yeah, a knife might be easier. It's fine. You reach down, you grab the line, you pull out your knife. He looks up at you, and as you're about to cut it, this look that he gives you is just this cold, dispassionate hatred, and he pulls the clip on his own harness and just falls back.
I am giving the claw.
You're giving him the claw as he falls off. All right, so he refuses to let you kill him as he takes the plunge off onto oblivion. Okay, lovely, very nice. Adrusai?
Yes. I want to do much the same, sort of move over to the edge where this person had attached his thing. Is the rope within reach where I could cut it?
Yes, absolutely. They fired it so that they could climb up onto deck. So yes.
Yes. No, I'm going to call down to him, and I'm going to go, yes, hello. If you drop your weapon and just hang there, we'll let you live.
Give me a persuasion check, unless you're trying to intimidate him into doing it.
No, I think they're too happy to be intimidated. No, that's a 6.
All right. As you're shouting that, and we'll let you live, from the other side of the ship is, ah! Right?
Oh, I'm going to guess, oh, well, I tried. I'm going to start cutting the rope.
Yeah, he's not interested in being taken prisoner. As you start cutting the rope, his nerve holds, and basically you cut the rope and he falls away. You can see he's going into a prayer. Give me a religion check, if you please.
Yes. 16.
All right. He's clearly making a prayer to the god of Reft, which is self-indulgence and extravagance. Not generally considered to be a very good god in terms of their motivations. So that's who he's praying to as he falls away down into...
I yell after him, I'm sorry, but this could have been avoided.
There you go. Absolutely. I haven't missed anybody. And so back to the top of the round, Blaxton.
So how many of these?
There are, from what you can see, there are 3 of them left on deck.
Okay.
Yeah, one of them is engaged with the Cathar with black fur, who looks like he's been rung through a mangler a couple times. His tail broken at various points. He seems to be holding his own. The other one is engaged with the young dwarf that you've just sent off to... you've just sent off. They seem to be exchanging blows, but not very successfully. And then the third one is very slowly making his way up onto the main deck where the wheel is.
Mistake. As I go over to him, as I say, like, nobody is commandeering a ship of the order. I actually want to punch him really, really hard with my fist.
You trying
in
to
the face.
Oh, okay.
And I will knock him out. Now, here's a question.
Yes.
I can use my smite on melee attacks with weapons. Would my fist count as a weapon? Because
technically, it's
then he would have a very bad day.
He would have a very bad day. He really would. But and you're not wearing your armor either. No. You could use a belaying pin, which you can pick up from the side of the deck quite easily, and then that would quite happily be a melee weapon.
All right. Then I punch him in the face. Basically a makeshift knuckle
duster, yes.
Duster, right?
Make your attack.
So since
Should have done it with backhand with a belaying pin.
Yeah.
since I'm now level 5, I'll do it twice.
Overkill.
So one is a 13 to hit,
Right, he ducks low underneath that
and then he gets a 26.
into the second swing, which he.
So basically, what I do, I punch him, and this was telegraphed. I was running towards him, so he easily ducks. But just as he ducks down, the other fist comes and it's a swing with an uppercut, and I will actually use a second level smite.
Nice.
So he'll take 1 for the fist, I guess,
Right.
plus 4 for the strength, which is
Yeah,
5,
five.
plus 22 points of damage.
Really slightly.
And you were trying to make it non-lethal, right?
Yes.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Overkill, man.
Well, as you slam this haymaker up into underneath his chin, he lifts off of the deck and sails backwards against the railing and then just crumples down in front of you, complete lights out. From next to you, you hear Lieutenant Ty. Oh, very impressive, Captain.
Prisoner.
Yeah, well,
Hope he didn't break the jaw. So
if he can talk. All right,
Might be
so
some brain damage.
yeah. All right, so that leaves just the two. The one with young Purcell, he attacks Purcell back. He's got this curved sword. He slices at you, completely misses. He's not anticipating your agility as you sort of bounce around. This was not part of the plan. And then at Brooke, poor old Brooke, armor class of 15.
Yeah, that hits.
Yeah, that's a hit. Yeah. You know, some adventurers just end up being the punching bag of the party.
That's gonna be Brooke.
I think it's Brooke, because you take 5 points of damage as he slams this blade into your upper shoulder, cutting in quite deep.
Nah, it's just a flesh wound.
Oh, good. I can do more then. All right. All right. So, yes, you take the damage. Purcell, yourself, what are you doing?
Okay, so the one's focusing on me, but the other one is now focusing on the dwarf.
Very much.
I'm going to try and spin it up to the guy that's facing away from me and
Right.
stab that one.
Okay.
So I get the flanking thing again.
Right, but you were still engaged with this guy, so you're going to do a 5-foot step
Yeah.
to sort of
So
disengage.
yeah,
That's-
acrobatics, trying to just like get
All
out
right.
of the way of him,
Okay.
and then so
yeah,
yeah.
give me an acrobatics check.
10.
All right. Yeah. You lunge dramatically away, only to feel this rather nasty pain. The back of your tail gets nicked. Because although you ducked and rolled, you didn't duck and
Yes.
roll.
Yes,
A
yes,
problem with tails. And so your tail's
That's
been...
why mine is so
Yes.
kinky.
Well, you've just taken another point of damage as he sort of slashed out at you. All right, you can make your attack against Brooke's character.
21.
21's a hit, 2 damage.
Come on. 10.
All right. Well, you come up behind him, and he is gloating over this hit that he's scored on the dwarf. Brooke, you're standing there getting ready to come back at him. And suddenly this very curved cutlass just emerges out of his sternum area and then is pulled back again quite quickly. He looks at you a little bit confused and then drops down onto one knee, gurgling, coughing out this dark, dark, dark purple blood as he very slowly drops down in front of you. Apparently quite dead. What are you doing, Brooke?
Oh, sorry. I was looking at the chat.
Right.
Well, I'm going to try and finish him off if he's not already dead. And then I'm also going to spit in his face. So I rolled a 23.
Right. Well, you smack into him. Do your damage.
And that is That is 2 damage.
2 damage. You slide that quite neatly into where his heart should be, and then you spit on his face. Well, on his face, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
All right. All right. So he dies covered in gob. Great. Adrusai? No, Ebusol. Sorry, I missed Ebusol first.
What other draws are there?
There's just one left, and he's advancing on the Cathar and the dwarf who are standing over the dead body of this other drow.
Okay, so seeing my comrades are about to be between a drow and a hard place, I take my rapier and my buckler and I charge to attack him.
Lovely. Make your attack.
8.
Give me an acrobatics check.
11.
There is a loud shout from Ebusol as he charges forward, rapier in one hand, buckler in the other, only to discover that Purchell had left a piece of rope on the deck. And that, unfortunately, done what it does to all cats, tangled up, somehow just required to be attacked quite quickly. As
I was about to use it on the drow.
now that brings us to Adrusai.
Yes. I'm not going to fire the harpoon straight into melee.
Good plan.
It would be fun, but I'm not going to do it.
Right.
I think they would just sort of move forwards with their sort of dagger ready, just in case of, because it doesn't seem like they're going to need the assistance really. And any sort of ranged spell I have is not going to be very helpful. So I'll just sort of stand by.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Stand there with menace.
Tail swishing.
Yes. God. All right. So Blaxton, top of the round. You have an unconscious drow at your feet, and a quick look over has the 3 cadets surrounding this one poor drow.
I'm gonna drag him, and I'm gonna want to see where Sorry is, because I have a few words for her.
Yes, right. Okay.
I'm gonna drag him behind me, just as evidence.
As evidence. All right, not a problem. Are you heading down below decks?
That's where I last saw her, right? So,
all right,
yeah.
That's correct. All right. Okay. As you start going below decks, you hear this loud chattering and laughing coming from the galley. It's definitely her voice, and then you can recognize Hurricane's drow voice.
Oh, that's good. That's fitting. Well, nice.
All right. So you're heading off towards there. This last one looks at all of you slowly approaching him with intent. Looks at Blaxton just casually walking away with his unconscious comrade. And looks at the dwarf who spat on his comrade. And then lunges at the dwarf because there is this... he shouts something in drow. It sounds as if it's like a final call to glory of some kind. And then he just charges the poor dwarf. Completely misses the dwarf. He basically stabs his rapier at you, but it buries itself quite solidly into the deck. Purchell?
Well, he's now charging away from me, so
right.
I'm just going to walk up to him and shank him.
All right.
I still get a sneak attack because he's facing away, right?
Right.
So
yeah, and he's focused on the dwarf.
11.
All right. Even with that, as you try and hit him, he bends to try and pull his rapier out. You completely miss. Brooke?
I'm going to do what dwarves do to drow, and I'm going to kill it. Or at least try to anyway, right?
Right.
I rolled a 9. So I don't do anything.
There is a lot of grappling and tugging and anger and nothing else. Ebersol?
Yeah, so I see this clusterfuck.
Yeah.
All right, hold him. And I pull my dagger, not my rapier. It's too close of a range. And I try to stab him in the back or somewhere lethal.
All right, make your attack.
20-something.
That's a hit. That's a hit. When you say
And
20...
that's 7.
7 points of damage. All right. You slam your dagger right between his shoulder blades, and there's this moment where you all hear this exhalation of breath as he just loses all the air in his lungs, and then he drops like a stone to the deck. Completely unmoving. Right. We're out of combat, so we're back to normal initiative rounds. Blaxton, you get to the galley. Sori looks up. She's busy drinking an ale. Hurricane is drinking an ale as well. They both look at you, and then at the unconscious Drow.
Bam! On the table.
Not on my table, Captain. It is leaking. Wait.
He should be.
What is... This is a Drow.
Very astute observation, yes.
As the face paint and the body is lying there with the...
Have you seen this person before?
What?
Is he from our crew?
No.
So, why is he on board?
Did you hit your head? Is that?
No, I hit his head. Very, very hard.
I can see that. He's not...
My question is, what is the job of a captain?
Oh, to defend the... Oh.
You were very, very clear that you want to be kept in the loop. So, we were just attacked. So, you are in the loop.
I thought you were handling it. I heard some noise, but yes. No, you're quite right.
I'm also hearing some noise right now.
Yes, you are. Quite
Now,
right.
since he is a drow and you are already here, Harakan, we might need you to investigate why there were 8 people trying to board a vessel of the Astari.
I'm not an interrogator, sir. I'm just a humble cook, but I will do my best.
Translating might be sufficient.
Yes, much better. So
We have 4 recruits who can try to see if he can talk. And I can make sure that he's not lying to us. So
very good, sir.
So get some water and some other maybe local food that he would like ready, and I'll get him to the brick, and then we'll see each other in half an hour. And sorry.
I really am. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, I know that's your name. Please go to the other recruits and see that they know what happened and that we want to see them there.
I let them know. Don't worry. Don't you worry. As she's leaving, Harakan, that's very nice ale. And she runs out onto deck. The 4 recruits, what are you guys doing?
I want to have a look at the skywells and make sure that there isn't anything else like still attached or coming.
Okay, Purchell?
I'm going to search the bodies, then dispose of them, and then tie the rope away because I don't want that out.
All right. Ebusol?
Basically, prep it up for next time.
Well, is any of my comrades hurt?
Yep. Yep. I am very
Okay.
sure.
I can't heal you. Definitely can't. But if you want, my friend, I have some whiskey. Maybe have a sip. It will help the pain.
Rum would be better. but I could probably get some down in the kitchen or something.
All right. And I help clean up, I guess.
All right. Brooke, what are you doing?
Well, first off, Brooke is going to take one of those nasty swords, probably the one that he was stabbed with, kind of as like a trophy or whatever. It's just like, this is mine now. And he's also a pirate, so it's keep what you kill. And then he's probably going to go to actually get some ale.
All right, not a problem. Okay, so Adressar, as you are looking at the Skywills, can you please give me a perception check?
15.
15. They are now quite a distance away from you, but you can see fairly clearly that on the back of one of them, there looks to be like a structure, or there is something blocky on the back of one of them. But it's so far away now, probably half a mile, that and getting further and further away as time ticks by. You're not entirely sure, but it just breaks the silhouette from it being this lovely curved hump to being this curved hump with a little box or block or something in the middle of it as it's slowly making its way on.
I go, Lieutenant?
She looks at you.
Is that normal with the pirates being on the backs of the sky whales? Because there seemed to be some kind of structure up there, like a hunting lodge. A pirate hunting lodge.
It's D&D, don't question it.
I'm not questioning it. I think it's amazing.
She looks, as it's disappearing, she looks back at you. I didn't see anything, I'm afraid, Cadet, but I would imagine they would have had to launch from something. I'm not particularly familiar with Skywills themselves, aside from what I have been taught. As to whether or not the pirates have some kind of operations there, I'm uncertain. All I can tell you is that they're now suitably far away that we don't have to worry about them any further.
But it might be something that one should perhaps write for future patrols or travels to be watchful for.
You are absolutely correct, Cadet. So, we now know what you're going to be doing for the next afternoon.
Writing a report?
Blaxton yourself, yes. I'll let him know that you're going to be doing it.
Yes.
Right. Well, you can get writing papers and things in the cartography room.
Yes. I scurry off happily.
Oh my gosh.
Well, somebody on board should like writing reports, right?
Right. Lovely. Okay. Parchel, you're busy searching the bodies. And there isn't a huge amount on them. They've all got this leather armor on, which has been painted this blue and white. But you're not convinced that the painting of the blue and white was necessarily for camouflage. The bladder gave it away. So there might be something more to it than at first meets the eye.
Not the drow armor being like bad for sunlight being an issue with it, or something else.
When you rub some of the blue and white substance off, the armor, when it's exposed to sunlight, it doesn't seem to turn into evil, poisonous vapor and slay the living.
That would be a good thing, and I shouldn't have tried that, but okay. Okay. I have investigation. It's like, could I make any...
Okay. Sure. So you're starting to look over the bodies and that sort of thing. All right, give me an investigate roll.
18.
That's your for 18, I see.
No, it's the dice falling off, and then I have a box for them, and they still can't get in there.
Yep, definitely the dice is full. All right, so I'll come back to you on your investigation. Ebisol, you are busy helping clean up.
Yeah, I'm cleaning up. He said something about disposing the body. My friend, this is not a good idea to throw them out. Maybe we should tuck them and it may hit someone. I'm speaking to Torcher.
So, Ebersol, you're saying that to Pachel?
Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, I stopped because I'm now like like seeing what's actually up with the thing. But where are we over? Are we over the sea or over land?
No, you're over the Kush Mountains, which are a spectacularly large mountain range. Very, very low populations because they're basically glacial. Very, very cold, very high mountains.
It'll be fine.
Call it modern art.
Well, not yet. I'm not done. I'm not done.
Oh, you are. Oh, this is smart. This is smart.
Yeah.
Very good. Did you find anything interesting?
All right. So Brooke, you arrive below deck. As you're heading towards the deck, this young gnomish captain walks up to you. Know her as Captain Sori. She's also a bard. She looks as if she's been chastised, but as she sees you, her face brightens up. Oh, cadet, you're just the person I wanted to see. Captain Blaxton wants you to interrogate a drow. Is that right?
That's perfectly fine with me. I have some business with the drow myself.
Yes, well, I was worried about that, considering that there has been some bad blood between the drow and the dwarves in the past. I should just remind you of the oath of the Order of Histari is that once they're a prisoner, you're only allowed to execute them if you suspect that they are supporting dragons, not for political reasons. Is that understood?
Yeah, and that's not my problem with them. I was raised by humans on a ship.
Oh, so you don't have all the dwarves. I wondered about the name. I did wonder when I saw your dossier file come across. I did wonder, yes. Okay, well, that's great. Can you just tell everybody else, please, that they need to report to the brig in about 20 minutes or so, so you can conduct the interrogation of the drow prisoner. All right?
You got it.
Good. You don't look too good. Are you feeling all right?
I'll walk it off. It's just a flesh wound.
Right. Okay, then. Yes. Oh, I see. You have a fiddle.
Yes, I am very good at my fiddle.
I always like a man who can fiddle. Well, no, that didn't come out right.
He kind of winks.
She doesn't know where to look. She turns bright red. She says, I think I hear a skywell. And she disappears down the corridor as fast as she possibly can. Heading
Not her day.
Not her day at all. Okay, so, yeah, Blaxton, you're busy setting up the brig and sorting that out. Purchell, what you've discovered from your investigation is they have shaved their heads. So they're completely bald. There's paint that they're covered in. You can find evidence that it's been underneath their fingernails for quite a long time, as in days, weeks, possibly months even. It does not seem to have any kind of radiant protection to it. You can see that these drow have been exposed to the sun a lot. Where the leather armor ends, so in other words, where their skin is normally exposed to the sun, you can see is definitely this much darker shade of purple than the areas that have been protected by leather and by garments and by clothing. You see that. The pigmentation, the pink, the blue and the white pigment, possibly it's a river clay that's been used. You're not entirely sure where that's from. You can do a nature check to determine that if you like.
Oh, wow. 18.
18, okay. The blue pigmentation can only be achieved by using crushed lapis lazuli, which is a semi-precious stone. Lapis lazuli happens to be mined at the dwarvish city of Dwaslan Border. That's one of their main exports, is this blue semi-precious stone, which is used in blue paint, blue ink, blue pigmentation, and that sort of stuff. So lapis lazuli was involved in the clay. Aside from that, the leather armor is very well made, but it's definitely surface leather, because when you look underneath it, you can see only the outside has been tanned with black ink, stained with black ink. The inside is still good old-fashioned leather. You can actually see that there's a maker's mark as to who made the leather imprinted on the inside. And the maker's mark is Guntherson and Guntherson, which is a fairly well-known leather manufacturer. They operate out of Howden Lee, which is a human city in the south of Brunei. But they're fairly well known for mass producing fairly cheap leather goods and items. They're armed obviously with the rapier. There was the crossbow, which fitted into the harness on the back. They had 6 bolts each. They only have 4 each now on the remaining bodies. Then they had 2 daggers and of course the rapier itself. Other than that, that's it.
Okay, no money?
Nope.
Nope. Okay. Well, then I don't need the bodies, but I'll keep the crossbows in that because it's in case we need to do a repelling again. I think we are all very close combat, so that might help. Tempted to keep one of the armor sets, but I think we have somebody left, so yeah. Anybody need anything to the rest of the crew?
Yeah, I'm good, man.
Weapons, armor? Nope.
No.
Oh,
Everyone's good.
Okay, good that I wasn't there.
Maybe put them in the storage. Maybe the order can use it, or we can sell it for food or drinks or alcohol.
Are you going to strip the dead bodies?
Oh no, I meant their swords and blades. And,
Oh no, that's all lying in a pile. Sorry, it's only the bodies that.
Oh,
you know,
I'm sorry, I was scrapping the deck. Yeah, now I see. Okay,
no, like everything is lent out neatly. It's like
Okay, I thought you threw overboard the stuff.
No.
Let's paint the snow red.
Just the dead bodies, and if anybody wants the armor, because otherwise, we have a set downstairs for questioning. Yeah.
That's
yeah,
right.
no, I'll give you a call.
Yeah.
Brock,
So we have
do
some
you go back
information
up onto
to
deck?
assemble and. Yeah. Sorry.
Now I'm asking Brock what he does.
Oh, Brooke? Well, he's going to... It's fine. I'm going to go to the closest person and just be like, the closest cadet, of course, and be like, we're needed in the... Sorry wanted us in the brig, I believe. We have some business with a drow.
Just everybody that's around, just start, like, I'm going to head towards the brig, and anybody who's following and listening, I'll explain what I found of the pigments and the armor and such. But they've been out here for quite a long time. It's human leather. The paint seems to come from the dwarvish lands. Yeah, so a very interesting mixed match of things. And repeat the Blackstone when I see him again.
All right. Adrusai and Ebisol, I assume you're following everybody as they head down?
Yes.
Well, I'm going to the cartography room.
Oh, yes, that's right. Yes, sorry. You went
to make my
to...
report, which I'm assuming will take about the 20 minutes.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, the cartography room, you notice, is this very large central table, and there's maps and charts and things all over. And you can actually see there's an old chart up which had plotted the course of the Windswift before, where she sort of sailed here before to the Gamspire. Then you can see there's a dotted line sailing out into the Akisadab desert. Then there's a big skull there. And then you can see it sailed very, very slowly into the Chung territory. And then there's another skull there. And yes, then it sort of sailed a little bit north, and it gets a bit sketchy after that. But you start to write out your report. What are you saying exactly in terms of the Skywheel incident?
I think it's going to be very thorough. As up to whatever standards the Order actually have when it comes to report writing.
Right.
But since with that natural 20 perception check I can detail sort of the distance of the whales when the bladders detached, and the distance of the bladders when the boarders detached, and what kind of weapons they had, and the sort of general outline of the structure on the whale's back.
Right.
And also sort of the location and time. And
yes, perfect. As you're about to sort of finish writing this out, Lieutenant Ty steps into the room and looks over your shoulder as you're busy finishing. And she's very, very, very quiet for a moment. Then she goes, "Huh? You forgot."
Is that a good huh or a bad huh?
You forgot to dot that I. She points to one of where you wrote distance, and there's an I that doesn't have a dot on it.
Oh, I'm terribly sorry. Yes, the pen was running out of ink at the time. I'll fix it. Thank you very much.
She looks at you. People like us don't need to make apologies. This is a very good report. It's better than anything that any of the captains have ever written before. As a matter of fact, it's the first report that I think
Really?
in this room. To that detail. But don't let it go to your head, Cadet. You've still got a lot to learn.
Oh, of course. No. When it comes to
eyes
writing
and crossing your
reports, I think I have that down already, but I'm very certain that I have a lot to learn about the flying the skyship part and the hunting down dragon cults part.
Yes. Well, I'm sure you'll learn. You're wanted in the brig. They're conducting an interrogation.
Yes, I was planning on bringing more paper to make notes of any confessions or whatnot.
But just make sure that Captain Blaxton approves whatever confessions you happen to have written down.
Yes, of course. Yes, I'm not going to make things up. That would be a little... I don't think I would like that.
I'm not akin to lying myself, but I won't say that there have been previous captains of the Windswift who may have disagreed with your opinion on that subject. But let us not say any more on that matter. Best you run along to the brig now.
Yes, Lieutenant.
All right. Everybody arrives at the brig. Blaxton, you've obviously had plenty of time to set up the drow. Anything specific?
Checked for weapons, checked for hidden weapons.
Right.
Found hidden weapons.
Yes.
Took hidden weapons. But otherwise made him somewhat comfortable on the kind of brig bed or whatever.
Right. It's just a simple pallet. Yeah.
Yeah. Made him comfortable there. Kind of was waiting for the chef to kind of come, bring some, I don't know, like some water and stuff like this, and just like wait basically for the cadets.
Right. All right. Hurricane has brought water down. The cadets arrive, talking. You can hear there's discussion about the age of the clay, and there's Grassland border is mentioned as they're approaching. Then coming from the other direction, you hear it sounds as if you're about to be attacked by about 8,000 moths. There's the sort of and then you see Adresai coming along with paper and pen and quill and ink, looking very, very enthusiastic as they approach.
So aside from water, did Terrakin bring something else?
Yes, there's a rather curious black lumpy paste that he's put into a very simple wooden bowl.
All right. So when everybody is there, I'm gonna kind of nod at them and say like, so we have a prisoner. What are we to do with him? What are we allowed to do and what are we not allowed to do?
Can I roll a check to see if I know the rules?
So there is actually out of game. There is actually quite a long list of rules that the order is not allowed to do. But for the purposes of this exercise, the only thing that you're not allowed to do is, if you do not suspect him of being involved in the dragon cult, pretty much you have to follow the Geneva Convention in terms of not really committing overt torture. Usually the Order's only involved when dragons are around. He attacked your ship, so he's at your mercy. You are the captains of the ship, make the laws on board of the ship. And as they say, what happens on the ship stays on the ship. So yes, but if you suspect him of dragon collusion, then there is absolutely no law in place whatsoever. You are entitled to use anything and everything at your disposal to get to the bottom of it.
Actually, we also to kill him.
Yes, that's the final result. Yes.
Ask questions, don't leave evidence, and don't kill him unless there's evidence that he's a cult of the dragon cult.
Good. So how would you approach this person to find out what the fuck he was doing on our ship?
Well, you already have a nice setup here for trying to be nice, so we can do like a nice captain, bad captain type of deal. I'm not afraid of being a nice captain or a bad captain. I think I would roll more towards a bad captain since the drow typically don't like my kind.
I agree.
I would like to ask him questions and make him provide some answers, which we can find ways to play with his mind. But yes.
Well, by the blessing of Brax, I can force him to tell us the truth. So come up with a few good ideas about questions you want to ask him, and what we probably would like to find out.
Ebersol, you wanted to say something?
Oh, I just wanted to say to Davis, I agree. Good captain, bad captain, it's great. We are 5. We can be best captain, good captain, neutral captain. No problem.
Chaotic captain.
Crazy captain.
All right, so you've been tasked to come up with some questions to ask this drow. Hurricane looks over at you. Shall I pour water on him now, sir?
Give me a moment here. So, Adrasai, what do you think about the situation? What would you do? You haven't spoken yet.
Well, as far as I can tell, he seems to be just a pirate, sir.
In the air, though.
Well, yes, an air pirate, not a flying pirate.
It is, and you are aware that it is secret that the Order has flying ships. So
well, certainly, but
what are we to do with this person then? Can we just let him leave?
Oh no! I mean, we should probably find out where he comes from and exactly why he attacked, and maybe the usual patrolling routes of their strange sky whale hunting thing.
Yes, but the conundrum that I wanted to bring up here is we're not to kill him, but also he knows a secret. So,
well, whatever magical means we have to make him tell the truth would be all right, I suppose. Even though I would personally be quite opposed to controlling him directly.
Oh no, it's just disallows lies.
May I? The fact that they were up here in the air as pirates, when, as far as we know, the only people that fly on a regular basis are the Order, means they were quite likely here as an ambush for us. But they've been up here for quite a while, so there might be more teams like this out there. They're near the paint comes from the Dwarven border, which means that they're probably being supplied from that kind of area, considering the location. The human armor, we can maybe that's because of the location, the trading with the dwarves, but it's a very fishy.
Yes, but I also wouldn't read too much into it. There might just be pirates, and pirates are scavengers. So who knows?
They could also just.
Yeah. Do Abir knows whether how common is flight, like ship flying around?
Very uncommon. As a matter of fact, as far as you're aware, only the orders, the 3 orders of the Order of the Histari, the Order of the Anchors, and the Order of the Ark Relicar are the only 3 orders that have flying ships designed by the gnomes and various others. So This would be highly irregular. Yeah.
So, if I may, my comrade, the captain, since not a lot of ships fly those skies, I'm afraid that, well, the skies are vast, and they were in our path. It's like they knew we are coming. It's not just scouting ahead. Those blobs are very slow.
All right. I guess it's time to wake our guest up. And I kind of go...
Oh. Sorry.
Over eager.
The water splashes on the drow, who very slowly opens one fairly swollen eye, and he sort of looks at all of you.
I kind of step to him and I say, as you see here on the ground, there are a few marks, and you would be able to see that there's shark marks and kind of writing on the ground. You will not be able to lie. So he actually can try to lie. So the spell is Zone of Truth. Mm-hmm. So what he can do is he can try to make a charisma saving throw to lie, but I will know if he does.
Even if he passes?
Yes.
Aha.
If he doesn't tell the truth, then if he passes, then he can lie, but then I know that he does. I don't know the truth, but I know that he lies. Right. So then I can become uncomfortable.
Right. Okay.
And this, by the way, the lying thing is for all the people, so me as well as each person that is there.
Right. Yes. Right. Okay. Well, let's go through those social initiatives just to bring a bit of order to chaos. Adressai, are you doing anything?
I'd say they're probably starting to write things down at this point.
Sort of pen ready.
Yes, sort of who's present, who's doing the translating, stuff like that.
Right. The drow looks at you. I will not say anything to you. He's lying.
Well, he just said something, so...
Yes. So you're a good study for these people here. They would like to ask you a few questions, and they're also allowed to encourage you to talk. And if it doesn't work, well, there's also me.
He looks from you to the four people. When his eyes rest on you, Brooke, you get that same malice, dead stare of disgust that you got from the previous one.
Brooke kind of chuckles.
Porchel, you're up next. First, what's your question to the drow?
Why are you up here? Just on a side note, how high up were the whales when we first encountered them? Would they be able to see and encounter ships nearby? So that, well, it's in the mountains, so it was
they were
to actually get out besides us. Yeah,
correct. They were on the same level as you, so they were about a mile above the mountain range, very, very, very high up. So you've got about a 25-mile viewing distance from that.
Okay. I need to amend what I said earlier. So I don't know if he lies. I know if he passes or makes the save.
No, he failed.
So then he just needs to tell me the truth, and I would know. So if he makes the save, then I wouldn't. Then I would know that he made the save and he can lie, but I wouldn't know if it's the truth or not. So I just want to be very clear, because this could be actually very impactful.
So if he fails his saving throw, then he
needs to tell the truth.
Then he must.
He can be evasive and he can not answer, but
Gotcha. You can see he clenches his teeth and then says, "We were waiting for you." Ebersol?
Yes, so just in case, can I also roll the saving throw? I may want to lie.
Well, go ahead. Make a saving throw. Charisma saving throw. The DC is 15.
Yeah, that's a 20.
My DC is 15 right now.
All right. So, yes, you can lie.
Thank you. Mr. Draw, first of all, I want to make sure you know. We know you want to die. And unfortunately, our vows are not allow us to kill you. So you are going to be here for quite a while. Also, we're probably not about to land soon. We have quite a lot of provision. So, the sooner you cooperate, the more comfortable you will get. We are 3 Qatars. Each of us has 2 hands. Each hand has 5 claws. You get what I'm saying, right? It can be a very long day. I don't want it. They don't want to do it. So let's start with the easy questions. What is your name?
Wow. Okay.
I'm going to support him in that by like the.
Yeah. Right. Again with clenched teeth. My name is Sigorium. Sigorium Denatri.
Thank you. I will let my friends keep it from here.
All right. Ebisol's gone. Brooke.
Brooke's going to walk up, and he's not even going to try to like fight the thing or nothing like that. He's fine with telling the truth. He gets as close as he can to the drow, like kind of in his face.
Right.
And he's just like, "Are you a dragon lover?"
He winces as you say that. And Blaxton, you get that uncomfortable feeling as he looks back at you, dwarf, and he says, I make love to dragons.
Right on. Good for you.
All right. All the way down the line. Blaxton.
Yeah, I will. I don't know if you saw Indiana Jones and the lovely scene where Indy gets kissed, and after that, because that's how Austrian people say goodbye, and then after that, there's a German person saying goodbye. I will tell him how a German person thinks about lying and trying to lie. So I just go over to him and punch him in the face, and I will try to knock him out again.
Oh, ow. All right. Make your attack, you have advantage.
With advantage, I rolled a 25.
Yeah, that's a hit. That's a hit. You smack him for 5, unless you're doing anything else.
I guess he said, like, it didn't heal him before, so
No.
he should just be knocked out, right?
He does. As you smack him, his head hits against the back of the deck. There's a loud thud, and he kind of passes out.
And
Eric,
then I will show him the niceties and wonders of healing magic that wakes someone up immediately.
Oh, wow. Okay,
Yes.
he wakes up.
And I just say to him, don't lie to me. Don't lie to us, or this can continue for a very, very long time.
And the cats are doing the claws in the background.
I'm writing furiously.
Yeah, writing furiously, right?
Oh, yes.
Fine. We were waiting here for you. And no, I do not support dragons. I don't care about dragons. That's not... We're paid to be here. If you must know.
I who?
It is a name that would have no meaning for you.
Try me.
His name is Vestasius.
And he is?
Vestasius is a senator within the Drow Imperium.
Male or female?
Vestasius, with your limited drow, you think that's a surname, so it's difficult to tell.
No, I was like Brooke was asking the.
Oh, I see. Sorry. Brooke was, She is a very well-placed drow. You would be wise not to interfere with her plans.
Oh, she's interfering with ours, though.
Yeah, we just did, though.
I've got an issue with the female drow in high places.
Don't you have issues with drows everywhere?
You have issues with drow.
They killed my mother. So try me, drow.
And we'd kill the rest of your family given a chance.
You are my family, in a way.
He spits as best he can with his broken lip and his swollen face. Adressai, you doing anything? Still taking notes?
Yeah. No, I can't think of anything to add at this point.
All right. Purchell?
Aside from and insert the name of the town because you mentioned that before, and who are your contacts?
In Dwaslin border? I do not know. It is Corvix who deals with the people of Dwaslin border. He's the one who can stomach dealing with, and he looks at Brooke, your kind.
Did he fall, or is he still out there?
You see, he sort of flinches, and you can see he physically shudders. And Blaxton, your spidey senses tingle as he's trying to lie, but he eventually cannot stop himself. No, he is still on the Skywheel.
At that point, I would take a look, because I wanted to get rid of him anyway, at our very good cook, because he doesn't need to translate right now, and kind of say to him, tell Jasani that we need to find the whales.
Yes, sir. Should I bring more water?
No.
He goes running off. Ebusol?
Yes, so I'm putting like a supporting head on Brooke's shoulder, like giving a nod, and then I'm approaching Sigorion and say, you're being very cooperative right now. And I pull out my flask. Would you like a sip?
He looks at the flask, looks at you. I think I will. And he takes the flask, takes a sip from it, coughs a little bit at the sting, obviously. It's just whiskey?
Yeah. The very cheap one.
I am confused. You were threatening on the one hand, and now you are offering this on the other.
Well, of course. You were trying to kill us, now you are giving us information. This is how it works. We have no wish to harm you, unless, become a burden. Which leads me to my next question, if you will. How many more are there that are about to come here again, try to attack us?
There were only the 6 of us that were trained in the use of the balloons.
Thank you. And I take my flask back because I have plans for it later.
All right, Brooke.
Well, Brooke kind of has done all that he's going to do. He got some information from him, and he's just going to kind of like play his fiddle in the background, just like lightly. He's kind of like resting because he's also still wounded, so he's just sitting there relaxing, playing his fiddle.
Right. Okay. Good. Blaxton?
I just look into the group if they have more questions.
Adresai?
Oh, if there were only 6 of you that were trained in the use of the balloons, how many are still on the Sky Whale?
There is the one with Kruvix, and he has 4 guards with him.
Thank you. Does the Sky Whale building have any kind of particular defenses, or is it just your crossbows?
There is a platform from which we launch, and then there is a single room in which Kruvix... you can all give me a insight check, please.
Well,
8.
8, 12, I've heard.
11.
3, Blaxton.
Yeah. 18.
18. All right. Blaxton, you see that he was about to give more information when he suddenly pulled himself back. So he's not lying. He was just becoming a little bit comfortable.
Yeah.
He's helped. The environment's kind of changed a little bit.
I would then get the plate with the thing on it.
Right.
And kind of hold it in front of him and say, and?
He looks at the bowl, looks at you. And it does not matter if you attempt to approach. Kruvix will know what you are doing and he will stop you.
Because?
Because Kruvix is trying to make the world a better place. And that means he has been empowered at the highest levels to do so.
Good. You want to do the same then? And kind of, I give the plate to him.
All right. Anybody else got questions for him?
Is that the full list of defenses? What can you tell me about Kruvix? And what can you, do you have any other information about the senator?
I'm not aware of too much of the plans of the senator. She is a will unto her own.
So at this point, I will mention that the spell lasts 10 minutes, and before it runs out, I want to know because I have a few questions too.
All right. Kruvix, there's no other defenses. Who else is going to be up here? We knew you were going to be here. There is no one else nearby. Ebusol, you had a question?
Yes. Thank you for being so much helpful. Now, for the technical question, I'm afraid I have to ask you this. How did you locate us? And how did you know where we are going?
He genuinely looks confused. You must understand, I am a trooper here, not anyone of rank. We were told to board the Skywheel about a week ago, and then we were brought here and instructed in the operations of the balloons. How Kruvix knew you would be here at this time, I do not know.
I look at Blaxton and like, I'm out of questions.
Blaxton?
If they don't have any more questions?
He has no more information about his boss, like what he does.
So no?
No.
Okay. So then I would ask him, so what were 8 people going to do after they boarded a vessel of the Astari?
Our instructions were very simple. We were to board the ship. We were told that it would be a complete surprise, and it was not to be expected. But we were also told not to worry if we did not succeed, because we would be given the opportunity to do so again.
Yes, but
It does not make sense to us.
succeed in what exactly?
taking the vessel.
Okay, so which genius came to the idea to send 6 rookies on the boat of the Astari? Is there something you aren't telling me? Because you didn't slow us down. You surprised us, I give you this. But you didn't slow us down. You didn't really had a chance to begin with. Because even if you surprised us, we saw you coming. You were floating in the air.
I did not originate the plan, sir, but if I am honest with you, we are not military. All of us
are you a mercenary?
We were given this opportunity to redeem our honor for our families by serving the Empire one last time, the Republic one last time. And that
all right.
To board, and we were to dispatch as many of you as possible, and if we were to take the ship, we would be granted our freedom.
Okay, well, thank you for your cooperation. You will stay aboard for the near future, as my colleague already mentioned, while we'll decide what to do with you. And I fear, since you haven't succeeded in taking over the vessel, that you will remain incarcerated for the time being.
I was a prisoner of the Republic. It does not matter where I am in prison.
No, I understand this. I just want to be very clear about your situation. Yes.
Sorry, what did you mean that they will get a chance to try again? Are there other teams?
Well, they know that we're moving around.
So they are training other cells?
It confused us too. I do not know if they are training others, but we were told we would be given a second chance if we did not succeed.
Huh.
Perhaps they meant in the afterlife.
Perhaps.
We're not in the afterlife.
Perhaps not. I doubt that a drone would know such details.
You are unfortunate.
Yeah. As long as you behave yourself, I can promise you that you will be kept in more or less comfortable situation.
That is very kind of you, sir.
And with that, I would kind of knock on the door for the guards outside, and then kind of.
All right. Do you all exit when Blaxton leaves?
Yeah.
All right.
Brooke does not.
Brooke does not. You stay quietly fiddling in the background?
Yeah, he kind of, while everybody else leaves, he kind of sits because he does have some personal things that he didn't want everybody else to
all
really,
right.
Which he already hinted at some of it.
Right. Blaxton, where are you heading with the cadets?
I would go to the cartography room to just have a meeting and ask them what they're thinking, what we want to do now.
Okay, perfect. All right, Brooke, very quickly, what do you...
But I will not leave the dwarf alone. There are guards.
Oh, yeah, they're guards. Right? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Because I want to say that because obviously someone else was surprised at this earlier. Like
that's right.
A few months back.
You've had incidents with...
people leaving them alone with prisoners. Yes, I do, and that's not happening again.
Right, absolutely. Brooke, are you gonna say anything? The two guards are saying that they're both they're both human.
He's fine with that. He kind of just continues fiddling softly, and he goes, "What else do you know about the Republic and the women in control?"
I don't understand your question, Dwash.
Well, my ship originally, before this one, was shot down by the likes of you. So I wish to know more about your females and the higher powers.
Senator Vestasios is one of the most powerful of the senators. That's why she's been authorized to do what she is currently doing. Aside from
Well-
her, there are multiple senators that represent the Republic's people in the forums.
I want a list of the females while you're imprisoned. And then he'll walk out.
It's like, that's a long list. Oh my God. All right. So that's what he's doing. The three of you arrive in the briefing room with Blaxton. Blaxton, you are asking for their opinions.
I hand him the Skywell's report and the copy of the conversation we had that I wrote everything down.
Okay. Just put it to the side. I want like the opinions earlier first, and then I'm gonna read through it.
Two things. One, let any other ships in the air know that there are Drow that are trying to ambush them, because this is likely to not be the only party. And two, we need to find those Sky Whales and I think ambush the leader. He'll have more information about what's going on.
Perhaps, if that is possible. Yes.
Yes, it seems like this Kruvix would be the one with all the information.
If we can get our hands on him. Yes.
Ebersol?
So I'm keeping a bit to the back. I mean, not out of the room, of course, but I'm not participating. After the fight and the interrogation, stuff calmed down a bit, and I feel unneeded. I take a little swig. It will become big swigs later, but I don't want to make a fool near the captain. So I will listen and drink a bit.
All right.
Okay. All right, so clear skies. Will be hard to approach them unseen.
We get height.
Where?
Well, if they're a mile up, how high can we go?
2 miles maximum height.
But the problem is not necessarily the height or the. It's just we don't know where they're going, so it's hard to lay in wait.
They've been
And also,
out
there are
here
no trees to behind mile up in the sky.
maybe some cloud cover, but they've been out there for a month. We should have actually asked about the supplies. They might be running out, and
I mean,
so maybe,
you can guess that they land at some points.
yeah.
Those are details. We could have asked them where he is, where their base is, but I'm not necessarily too concerned about the foot soldiers. We have a name of the higher ups.
We need to begin investigating.
Yes, but that's not our mission for today.
Yes.
Brooke, where are you heading?
I was heading towards the cartography room. Yeah.
All right. You arrive at this point.
All right. Well, Brooke kind of just walks in and has his fiddle on his back and acts like he was there the whole time.
So, any other insights? Or should we see to the village of the dwarves?
We may be able to find more information there, but the whales are only half an hour away from us.
Yeah. I already told that we should keep an eye out for them and try to find them if possible. But if we didn't do this until now, I guess they might have escaped.
We'll have a hard time trying to find Drow in a dwarven city, because they probably won't be visible.
Well, if they're there, I'm pretty sure that we will it will be easy to find them.
Yes. If we can see them, yes.
All right.
From the speaking horn comes the voice of Suri. Captain Blaxton, I just thought I'd report that we're approaching the Skywells. Is there anything you want us to do particularly?
Well, round 2. Now you can be beneficial to our cause.
Look, I'm really sorry. I didn't think it was
No, it's fine. But you are an esteemed colleague of mine, right?
Well, I think I'm just a colleague at the moment. I don't know about the steam.
Right. Then work on the esteem. You are an experienced sailor.
Yes.
Sky captain, if you will.
Yes.
Make Con proud and mask our approach to the Skywells.
Who's Con?
Conotana.
Never heard of him. Anyway, I'm sure I'll make him happy. Was he a pilot?
Yes. And a magic user who could hide our approach.
Blimey. He sounds
So
pretty
you are
good.
too.
All right. Well, I'll do my best.
Great.
All right. What are the 4 of you doing? 5 of you doing?
Prepared to take borders. How are we approaching? Above and then dropping onto the...
You're going to go up onto deck?
Yeah. Oh, strategy with Blaxton, because how are we going to approach them? It depends on how we're going to try and board and control the situation.
Well, I think it's a bad idea to shoot at Skywells. These things have done nothing wrong. It's just blunt passengers. So I guess we're trying to board. How you guys will want to achieve this is really up to you.
The structure that was on top of the Skywell, how, like, if they were on top of it, would they be able to see below the Skywell? Because I imagine the Skywell is quite broad and the structure is possibly smaller.
From your limited view that you saw, you don't think so? No.
Captain, I think perhaps if we approach from below, they will have a limited view of us, since their structure was on top of the Skywell.
Yeah, that's a good idea, but you don't always need to go through me. You are supposed to be captains at some point, so...
My only issue with that is then we need to board the same way that they dropped off. And they saw us from above on the side, so how would we get underneath them to do that? And then we'd have to still climb over the wall.
Climb up the wall, the whale.
It's probably easier to drop down on them. And
then they would see us. I think the approach from below...
Haven't you ever climbed up a whale before, a mile above a mountain range?
Practice. Sounds fun to me.
I don't know, it dropping from above seems just...
I'm so glad I read it for the full today.
All right. So as you're discussing this, are you going up onto deck? Because Sora's like, we're right next to them now. Well, sort of right next to them.
Sure. What's the situation when we get up?
All right.
Is this do we even need to be discussing this?
So as you get up onto the deck, you can see the whales. They are about half a mile away. They're busy moving. The Windswift herself is probably moving at about 10 knots, so she's got some speed on her. She's not going full speed yet. Blaxton, you're very much aware of this. She can go a lot faster to bridge that gap. However, as the 5 of you step up onto deck, you see, Blaxton, for the singular moment, that there is this green pulse which emanates out of the whale. And it spreads to about maybe 100 foot in all dimensions, out in different directions.
It's gone.
And then suddenly, you're standing back on the bridge of the Windswift.
Oh, okay.
Air is blowing through your hair, and unfortunately, none of the 4 cadets are with you. But there is a very urgent noise coming from the speaker horn. It sounds like the chief engineer.
Yeah, and I'm just setting to myself, so much for those reports.
Yes. And with that, we come to the end of today's session.
Oh my God.
Cadets trying to fiddle their way through this interesting conundrum. Thank you for watching. If you don't stay for the review afterwards, thank you very much for watching, and we appreciate your reviews. Let us know on what you thought. How do you think these 4 plucky young cadets managed to handle this rather interesting place that they're in? Leave your comments below. Let us know what you think. And if you think that they should join the crew of the Windswift, let us know as well. If you stay for the review, we're going to go straight into the review now. So that's where we're going to turn to the Dice of Destiny. There's 6 of us. I'm going to roll a d6 and see who gets to go first. Number 6, that's me. So how did I think the session went? Well, I think it went bloody marvellously. That's how I think it went, because I ran it. No,
the best.
Yeah, right. So the challenge, of course, as with last week, was we only had 2 hours to get to know you guys. And I think I can honestly say, as with last week, you guys were a lot of fun to play with. You kind of fitted into some interesting roles there quite nicely, and I got quite a nice sense of each and every single one of you. Yeah, absolutely, I would love to play with each of you guys again. I think it was a lot of fun. And thank you for taking the time and for putting yourself forward for this process as well. This is the internet, and so people will have comments, and
So be nice.
they should be nice. But they can also be mean, so then you can get told small eyebrows, as I was told. So there we go. People like to state the obvious. Yes, I think it's always difficult when you're given this kind of mystery where you've got an interrogation to go through, and there's obviously much more to it. 2 hours is just not enough time to explore. But what I decided to do in terms of handling these auditions is that I wanted to still be part of the Windswift story, so that it's not just, oh, they're auditions, you don't have to watch them ever again because they're over and done with now. Now it's actually part of chapter 4. You guys are in the first 3 chapters anyway, where poor old Blaxton is stuck in this seemingly time loop Groundhog Day process as we work through the story. So at least it's not just put on the shelf and forgotten about. So thank you very much for that. Okay, moving swiftly along then. Just because you're next on my screen, Ebusol, Omer, how did you find it?
It was great. I had a good time. I haven't played in quite a while. I'm always the DM, always picking up the gloves, so it's very nice to be able to play. I've been thinking of this character for quite a while now. So little time, but I hope I was very entertained. I hope I helped entertaining. I was also I enjoyed the other comrades, my other cadets greatly, as well as, of course, Simon and your DMing. I hope to be on board of the Windswift, but even if I will not, this was a great adventure. Thank you very much.
No, lovely. Absolutely fantastic. Jenny,
Yes.
Adrusai.
Yes. I had a great time, and I figured that even if this is the only episode I'm on, I'm extremely happy I signed up for this, because this was a lot of fun, and to be part of the story as well. As a very socially anxious person, I was, as always, concerned that I was talking too much, or I was talking too little, or I was like doing too much, or I was doing weird blinks. But I feel that with Guy's method of GMing, with the sort of moving from person to person very strictly, it worked out so that I didn't feel like I was stepping out of turn in any direction, which is a lot of fun. I enjoyed myself immensely.
Fantastic. David?
As always, it's wonderful to play with you. But yeah, no, I had a lot of fun. The combat in talky parts means we can get to like a couple of things with character. Yeah, I'd love to say more, but it's like we don't have a lot of time, and like really enjoyed it. Thank you, Guy.
No,
and everybody
pleasure.
else.
Absolute pleasure.
It was really interesting to get because I literally chose which character I put in for 3.
Yes.
I had 2 concepts for this particular character, and I literally chose him like a couple days ago that I'm playing the Cathar, and then suddenly everybody is the Cathar rogue bard type thing. It was really funny. Yeah, because I had another concept with this one being as a bard type character, trying to be inspirational and telling everybody to go and do better, and get up and don't die and heal, and but it was quite fun. I'm just sad I didn't get to attack the balloon.
And oops, I'm knocking my camera all over the place. Brooke, Tyler, how did you find it?
I rather enjoyed it because just like Omer, I am normally a DM, and so finally getting to sit behind a PC again is rather enjoyable, especially since I've had this character idea for years, and then you allowing me to play a half dwarf, half drow. Right. And I was trying to push he's half drow with the meeting, and he's trying to find out who his mother is.
Right. There we go.
Yeah, that explains a lot more. Sorry.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
He calls the pirate that raised him his mother, but he's still trying to find his biological mother.
Yes.
And so that's why when it was a drow. It's just like, well, great. I have to try and bring my backstory into it and make everybody have questions. If I'm not back, they're going to be like, what was this guy?
Right.
I wanted to throw that out there. And then I also wanted to try and ask beforehand if I could use the Dwargar or whatever, but I just use Kill Dwarf for right now.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely fine.
No, I am also like Jenny, where like I thought I was talking too little or too much. Yeah, I rather enjoyed it though. It was very nice, very relaxing. At first, I was shaking because of nerves, but
right,
calmed down after a while.
Right. No, absolutely. And I think, it's if one isn't nervous before a recording, then something's going to go wrong. Well, anyway, one day we'll do live, and then everyone can run around in blind panic. So there we are. Thank you, Blaxton, Simon.
Yeah, I still think it's a ridiculous situation. The entire thing, like, also, this is more stupid than applying for university because it's like 12 people for 2 slots. So,
right, very difficult.
That's effed up. But that's how it is. So yeah, I enjoyed it very much. Obviously, it kind of, I think from the session, it was more interesting to me than last week because it kind of set up more. It's not just like, oh yeah, the dwarves are going up to kind of do their mischief, but it's actually like, oh, there's happening more. And we were kind of heading to the drow maybe in the future. So we have a really good reason to go there. Yeah, and so one thing that I want to bring up, because it might come up in the session again, and this is also to why do you play your character this way, is Blaxton, I never said he is good. He's certainly good tendencies, but there is obviously always a fight between the different kind of parts of alignments.
Right.
He is more lawful than good.
Yes.
Whatever that means, and you can discuss alignment in the comments for ages.
Yes, no, absolutely. And I think it's also important to point out that Brax, the god,
yes,
one of his things is about justice and revenge as well. So it's not all lawful good sort of stuff, and that's the god that Blaxton worships. So there's a lot more to it than that. Anyway, thank you everybody for a lot of fun. And thank you for watching, and leave your comments below. Let us know what you think. Yes, we have one last audition round next week where it's just 3 people joining us as they are put through the final paces of this process. As Simon said, it's I wish I were going to have a table of 12 players, but that would be insane. It would be round 1 of combat. Okay, thanks for watching. Goodbye. Round 2. It's just not possible. But anyway, thank you again for watching. Tune in next week when we return with more adventures of the Windswift. Till then, goodbye.